There was a time when hunger was met not with abundance, but with creativity, when the simplest ingredients, bread, olive oil, a few tomatoes from the garden, became miracles on a plate. In rural Italy, familias didn't eat to impress. They ate to survive, to share, and to remember. Every dish carried a story, and every story carried love. Before we begin our journey through the 25 simple dishes that fed rural Italy, take a moment to subscribe to the Italy we remember. Here, every video brings you closer to the heart of an Italy that still lives in flavors, in laughter, and in memory. Join us, and together we'll keep the taste of old Italy alive. Imagine waking up in a stone farmhouse somewhere in the hills of Umbria or Calabria. The air is cool. The morning mist still clings to the fields, and the smell of wood smoke drifts from a nearby chimney. The day begins not with haste, but with quiet purpose. Nonna moves slowly in the kitchen, her hands worn yet gentle, kneading dough without scales, without recipes, only memory guiding her. She's preparing pane raffermo, yesterday's bread reborn for today's meal. Nothing is wasted, and yet everything tastes rich. That was the art of rural Italy, to transform poverty into abundance through patience and love. Bread, olive oil, and salt. The holy trinity of the countryside. They were never just food. They were symbols of dignity. In every region, families learned to turn scarcity into flavor. In the north, stale bread became panada, softened in broth and flavored with herbs. In the south, it became panzanella, soaked with tomatoes and basil. The taste of life was simple, and it was enough. When meat was rare, Italians turned to the earth. Lentils, beans, chickpeas. These were the treasures of the poor. A pot of minestra di legumes simmered for hours, filling the house with an aroma that promised warmth even before the first spoonful. The meal was shared from one bowl, everyone dipping their bread, each bite connecting generations. These were not just dishes. They were traditions woven into the rhythm of life itself. On Sundays, families gathered around the table for pasta fatta in casa. In rural kitchens, flour covered every surface, and the sound of rolling pins echoed like music. Children played near the table, as Nonna shaped tagliatelle, or orecchiette by hand. Each piece was slightly different, imperfect, human, alive. It wasn't about presentation. It was about participation. The act of cooking together was the meal before the meal, the true feast of togetherness. And then there was polenta. In the cold valleys of the north, it was the canvas of life, yellow, steaming, spread on wooden boards, to be shared by all. Sometimes topped with mushrooms, sometimes with a drizzle of cheese, but often just alone, humble, filling, and comforting. To eat polenta was to taste endurance, the quiet pride of people who worked the land and took only what they needed. In the south, frittata di cipolle, or frittata di zucchini, brought joy to the table. Eggs gathered from the yard, onions browned in olive oil. That was dinner. Cheap, fast, nourishing. Each bite whispered gratitude for what the earth had given that day. The fragrance lingered long after the plates were empty. There was also acqua sale, water, oil, bread, and tomato, the essence of peasant cuisine, born from necessity yet immortal in simplicity. Farmers carried it in cloth bundles to the fields, where they ate under olive trees during the harvest. Bread soaked in cool water to soften it, then kissed with oil, salt, and tomato. That was enough to feed the body and the soul. Milk and eggs turned into custards, simple sweets that ended the week with comfort. Late, dolce frito, siambel povere, antefamos pane suchero, slices of bread sprinkled with sugar, and a few drops of milk, were the deserts of childhoods now long gone. They cost nothing, but tasted like everything. Each dish told a story of resilience. A pot of zuppa di cabolo nero in Tuscany, earthy and rich, kept families warm in winter. Patet al forno, roasted, with rosemary made ordinary days special. Even a single tomato sliced, with salt and oil, was a small celebration of survival. The rural table was never extravagant. It was sacred. In the evenings, when the day's work was done, people gathered not around televisions, but around bread. Someone might slice cheese. Another pour wine. Laughter's candles flickered, and the sound of spoons scraping terracotta bowls filled the air. There was gratitude for the harvest, for health, for simply being together. Those were the nights that shaped the soul of Italy. We often think of poverty as emptiness, but in those kitchens, there was fullness beyond measure. Full hearts, full tables, full lives. Food was not about luxury. It was about meaning. A handful of flour, a drizzle of oil, a pinch of salt, and love did the rest. That love still lives in the memory of every Italian grandmother, in every village where the smell of bread still rises from wood-fired ovens. Today, when we look at glossy restaurants and gourmet menus, it's easy to forget where flavor truly comes from. It's not from perfection, it's from patience. It's from hands that learned by doing, not reading. From people who believed that a shared meal could heal even the hardest day. That is the secret Italy gave the world. Not recipes, but reverence. Close your eyes again and picture this. An outdoor table under vines, heavy with grapes, a pot of beans steaming in the center, slices of bread laid around it, children running, dogs barking, someone pouring wine from a chipped jug. The sun sets slowly, painting everything in gold. You can smell garlic and tomato in the air. You can hear laughter mixed with the crackle of a fire. That's not nostalgia, that's identity. We all remember those meals, even if we never lived them, because they speak to something universal, the hunger for connection, for simplicity, for home. In a world that moves too fast, these memories remind us to slow down, to savor, to feel. Food was never just sustenance in Italy. It was a language, the language of care, of time, of belonging. If you walk through an old Italian village today, you can still find the traces of that world. A grandmother hanging laundry from a balcony, a man carrying bread wrapped in paper, the distant sound of a spoon stirring in a pot, the smells drift from kitchen windows, tomato, basil, olive oil, timeless and familiar. It's as if the past never truly left. It just changed its form, waiting to be remembered. Each of those 25 dishes, from pasta e fagioli tu fai in cotto, from polenta con formaggio tu frittata di patate, is a key to that worth. They tell of times when people had little, yet gave much, when sharing food was sharing life itself. Every recipe was born from need, but perfected by love. Perhaps that's why even today, no matter how far we are from Italy, a simple plate of pasta or a piece of crusty bread can make us feel at home. It's not the taste we crave, it's the feeling, the memory of being together, the warmth of something real. So as we remember those 25 simple dishes that once fed rural Italy, we remember the people who made them, the mothers, the grandfathers, the children who carried water from wells, who waited for the bread to rise, who sat by the fire listening to stories while soup simmered on the stove. They are still with us, in every kitchen where someone cooks with love instead of haste. And maybe that's what the Italy we remember truly means. Not just the places or the flavors, but the emotions that time could never wash away. The courage to live with less, and still find beauty in every day. If you've ever felt that warmth, from a memory, a meal, or even a photograph, then you already carry a piece of old Italy within you, and that's what this channel is here for. To remind us that memory isn't about the past, it is about keeping the best parts of who we were alive. So next time you make a simple dish, a bowl of pasta, a loaf of bread, or even a slice of tomato on toast, remember that you're not just cooking, you're continuing a story that began long before us, around wooden tables under fading sunlight, in villages where life was poor, but hearts were rich. Subscribe and join us in remembering Italy, one memory at a time, because the taste of the past never truly fades, it just waits for us to return.